Okay, good morning. This is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching doing the market preview for 7/22/2019 for ES, GC, and CL. So really quick, let's jump through the profile charts and then we will work our way backwards from there. Okay, so on ES, if you look, right, we had a large range day, but it was in the context of overall balance. There's really 29.6575 is really the current swing low. And until we get underneath, and before I start, past performance is not indicative of future results. This is for educational purposes only. That is that. You can lose a lot of money trading futures. Make sure you have a trade plan ready. So until I see below 29.65, I'm just going to assume we've gone from one end of the range to the other and pulled back. The big deal this week, I think, is the Mueller report. I'm not sure if we have Fed on Wednesday. I'll look. I'm not quite worried about that yet. Why can't I get more dates in here? Let's squeeze this in. I mean, really, that 29, we have to get below that 29.6575 to have any significant damage. And my key location right now is actually that 29.72. And I'm looking for two patterns at that 29.72. One of two things. Either come down here, trap back in, and push back up, or come into the white zone and bounce out of there. But those are my two. If I can get into this area, two areas I'm really looking for long locations along with my intraday setups, which I'll cover in just a moment. Where did I go? There we are. Okay, so that's ES on the top side. We're just in balance, right? And if you look, what this has to get through is this 29.8575 to 29.91. This whole area essentially is going to serve as resistance, right? Once we're back inside Friday's value, the clear target is 29.9975 to 3001. This is the one area I do not want to initiate a trade and will not initiate a trade in today, because prior days, point of control and value area, point of control for both TPO and volume tends to be very choppy. I don't like or want to trade in choppy areas. So therefore, long story short, I will not be trading in that trade location. And then resistance at 30.16 if we can get up there, and then a breakout above 30.2175. I don't expect we're going to get up there today. With Mueller on tap, I expect balance probably today and tomorrow, or downside, one of the two, right? So I'm looking for responsive buyers down in this area, responsive sellers up in this area, and probably, because it's Monday in the middle of summer, probably choppy conditions, right? And I definitely will not be trading in the 29.99 to 3002 area on ES, right? Looking long down here, short up here, and then I'll let the intraday pattern set me up. And if we look how that played out, right, that 29.92 to 85 area overnight, here's 82. Here's, let's see, it's 29.8575 up to 29.92. So here's 85. That's 85. 92 is all the way up here. And as you can see, we simply pushed in and it has served as resistance overnight and it's done its job. So, and I have no setup long or short at this point. It's just kind of hanging out up here. What I would look for is to see if I can't break. This is the last rotation I've broken here. And we've actually closed below. So this morning on the open, which is 7 minutes away, my assumption would be that this is going to serve as resistance. If we push in and we get a shift down out of here, my guess is we'll push back down and come back and test areas lower. But that's my resistance up above. We have closed below my 3 below. So my guess is up into this location, and it doesn't close above 29.88, that you have a rotation to the downside. Pretty straightforward. Okay, that's one. Let's go through the others. So next, let's discuss CL this morning. So we look at the CL profile. We can see it's, okay, number one, it's not really bearish or bullish, right? We have this wide range that we're kind of trading through, which goes from 63 all the way down to 51, right? We really haven't established an area of balance. We attempted to break above the consolidation, fail, trap back in, and we've gone to the other side, and now we failed underneath that and trap back in. This is becoming a whole big wide balance area is all that's going on here, right? What clearly wants to be tested here, at least in my opinion. Okay, so if we spread this out, this is prior days point of control. I expect it to be choppy right there. So that 81 to 67, tough place, right? Even though that's where it's been bouncing, we know it's choppy. I want to stay away. This anomaly from Friday, okay, usually that would be strong, except it was on an inside day, right? So we should get a response out of 48.30. I'll look for the waves to set the delta waves to set me up on that trade, right? And then up above, this is valid resistance right there, 65 to 94. But see how thin it is? It can get easily traded through. So it gets downgraded. What I mean by that is when the profile's thick, right, kind of has a pyramid or TP shape to it, I trust it more. When it's flat like a plateau, I think it can get more easily traded through. So that means two things. It is resistance. It's not strong resistance. So it could reject if we don't have a strong market. It could reject out of there. If we get news or some kind of strong push, it'll push in. It could easily push through there, right? The strong resistance right now that we have to get above in order to break out and is likely to reject the first time in is 57.20 to 57.32, right? That's our first hurdle. Above 57.32, you have resistance here. It's moderate. And you have a white zone up here at 60. Okay, so obviously some kind of news would have to happen at this point to drive us up. We have our current swing low sitting here at 54.82, and I believe you'll get a response out of that 53.96 to 53.91. And underneath there, you actually have a considerable ways. So there's actually a vacuum underneath here because there's only one, and it's a TPO point of control. This can be easily broken, right? So it probably gets a response, but it's not strong. And you want to write these down in your notes, even though they're on the chart, right? And then the downside targets become 49.57 area and 48.26. I'll worry about it if we start heading that direction, right? But in the meantime, all we've done is they're attempting to trap back into this balance area right here off to the left, right? We've broken below. They're trying to, this was the overall balance area through here. They're attempting to trap back in. If it holds the bottom of this, right, you can travel back up towards, really towards 59.99 in the bigger picture of things. In the immediate picture, right, 56.55 to 56.94, followed by stronger resistance at 57.23, right? And then we should get a response out of 48 to 30, and underneath 30 really opens this up to come in and filling. This is Dalton's gap fill down here. So you should get a response right there, that 54.63 area, and then that 53.91, right? So again, if we look at the waves and the setups that I'm looking for, right? So number one, you'll see 56.55 to 56.94. That's right up here. That's what all this is up here, right? So if you look on top and then apply the waves as I've been coaching them, right? So you get on top. Here's your first sequential wave down. See this? We come underneath. Actually, it's this one and it's this one. It's actually this wave right here. I stand corrected. It's this wave right here is your resistance point. So you see we came underneath. We pushed. We didn't quite make it back. I usually look for it to tick right in. I don't know if I missed the bottom tick. I missed it by a hair. It's this right here. And we still missed it by a few ticks. That happens. I usually look for it to tick right in. But that was resistance on the backside test. And then it's done its job. It's rolled to the downside. And in addition, if you'll look, this is the wave that broke us out right here, right, guys? Just continuing with the coaching that I'm doing in the room, right? So you always have a conflict if you have a wave here and then you get a setup down here. So what matters more? Well, look at all the consolidation up here, right? If you get underneath it, these guys are trapped. In order to break lower, you've got to break underneath this wave. If you'll notice, as soon as we break underneath this wave, long liquidation, resistance should be on the backside test of this 56.20 to 56.30 area, right? And the natural target down should be, we've already hit it. Let's see. No, 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 Yes. That was support on the downside, right? And you slip underneath that. So now it's resistance at 56.20 to, in my opinion, 56.20 up to 56.50, right? Underneath 55.80, we come all the way back and retest the low. And if you look at the first wave that broke out, it was actually pretty monster because it was news. And it's this whole giant thing right here. It's this. And if you slip underneath this wave, forget about it. That whole wave is support. Did I get it all? That is too big a wave for me to trade. I would need something to set up within it. But I still know that that's going to act as support, right? And obviously, at this bottom area, we've consistently gotten response out of that 55.20. They slip underneath, and that's what gets us down to that 53.20 area. So for me, what I would have wanted to do this morning, I've been here trading. Number one, so guys, I've covered, particularly with Bill, the fractal shift down with the diamond. If the first one stops you, the second one tends to work. This is an important trade because it gets you, Derek, I covered this with you as well. It gets you in right on the edge. And then you got to get underneath the wave. This would be a perfect example of initiate, add, right, and push, right? So anyway, that's where we stand. I'll wait till the next rotation sets up. And then let's go do GC really quick. Just to make sure. Okay, and on GC. Okay, so number one, yes, GC had a down day. That is still as uptrend gets. There's no arguing about it. I understand that it's had trend days. We're still one time to the upside. In order to get some bearish thoughts going on that, my thought would be, as of right now, you at least need to trade underneath 14.20, and that was an inside day, so I would actually go to 14.15.40 before you stop one timing to the upside, right? That would be my thought. Friday was an inside day, so I discount the information. This is going to serve as strong resistance right now. Above it is obviously breakout, and on the bottom side, this anomaly down here is still serving as support. And you can see we're just chopping around. Again, this is why I don't want to trade around the prior day's point of control because it just chops back and forth. No, thank you. This is resistance right now, above off of a double distribution. And we are kind of set up to just have a balanced chop day in there. It's not above support, it's not below support, and it's inside of Thursday. So I'm probably going to be pretty relaxed on GC today. I don't want to get chopped up there. So other than that, okay, so now for the important part, guys. Relax. Let the market come to us, right? We will get paid. Have a deliberate series of entries and exits that you are taking, right? And let the waves set us up. I'm going to go through the GC waves really quick, but it pretty much looks like crapola. Why you don't want to trade inside the prior day's point of control is it is just a chop fest. So I am waiting for a break, and then I'll revisit GC. I've got nothing, no setup on GC this morning, one way or the other. I'm not interested in trading a 2-point range. I shall wait, right? So gold is kind of off to the sidelines. I'm watching it, but not really, right? And this is serving as our resistance. You can see we've opened back up. Again, if you don't trade 29.88, you are good to go for a push to the downside. You really, that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else to add on that. And that's a reasonable location to come back up against your short, is if it doesn't trade 29.88, you're probably good to go to the downside. So I don't know what else to say on that. So did anyone have any questions? I think if you're aggressive and you're willing to take the stop two ticks behind that 88 area, right? This is a decent place to take a 2.5-point risk for potential retest back down to 81. That would be my 2 cents on that. So, and then the downside target. Let's see if we got above this. That was your first wave up. I think we got above. one tick above, nothing. You got to get underneath this point of control to roll back under. And then your support, this is actually the wave that got above, so that, try this right. This whole thing is actually your, no. Let's go back. There's really nothing here. It's coming back into Sunday evening. No. I really don't have a good quote unquote support area for that for ES. So anyways, that area as highlighted has done its job, and I expect it to be relatively choppy. Again, retesting the lows would take you all the way back to Friday, take you all the way down to 29.68 from here. That's a long way down, right? This is clearly was early support. We clearly got above this, but it just didn't set up in a way that I could say, hey, this is the wave, this is the setup, and take that, right? So that little location, that fractal shift down out of there, again, so the key is when you get into this wave, even if you get behind this fractal shift down, you want to have the stop, especially if it's small, behind the wave so you can get the trade for the push to the downside. That would be my 2 cents on that. So, and that's how that works. Any questions? And that is the main trade I will be executing over and over and over again as we go through. Again, I still think the first half hour is difficult. And you can see CL's pushing back up into that wave. Let's go re-examine that. That's a big freaking push that came out of support. See that? That was the first wave there, right? That broke out. That was the first retest. See that wave was the push. And we got above and broke. So I guess I missed my entry there at 55.90. But that was a good push out of that wave. And then the first push down is actually this. So that's Bizarro. The push down, there's not 3 across. It's actually that 55.60 is still your resistance up above, according to the way I trade, right? So does anyone have any questions? Did I cover everything? So now we just sit back and let the trade. I have no GC till I see it break up or down. I got to get it out of this consolidation. Not interested in trading in consolidation, right? The prior day's point of control, no trade, right? And then this, I don't have it set up for long, but when I find it, I will let you know. And there's going to be a lot of noise. So guys that I coach, members in the room, right? Be aware. Mueller's testifying on Wednesday. We have oil inventories on Wednesday. Do we have Fed on Wednesday on top of that? Let me go look. Why not? Heck, let's do that too. This is for this week. Wednesday. We do not have Fed. We do have nothing. New home sales, crude oil inventories at 9:30, and Mueller testifies. And if you feel like testifying while someone hangs on his every word and they try to figure out who's right, who's wrong, who's going to rally, all that rhetoric that's going to come out of that crap, that is not for me, but I welcome it. It should shake things up. And if you want to trade it, that's fine. I will come pick up the pieces the following day for the trade. It's the easiest thing for me to do. Wow, and I missed my entry here. Oh, not really, but That entry works very often. I just didn't take it. So I've got nothing here one way or another. I'll tell you when I see it. Let me cut all this stuff off so I have a new play to set things up. And again, that short out of that 29.86, that was 5 points. That's pretty damn good, right? And your stop was 2.5 points. So not a horrible trade. Just cut all this down. Wish there was a scissors where I could just slice the whole thing. Fractal shift up, shift down. If you don't get above that, you probably have a roll to the downside. You close behind that, you probably get a push. Be aware of that. Back up into resistance. It's probably a 20 tick stop. If you close above, you've got to use the bar behind as your stop for the push up into that 5670 area. Watching for a potential trap over here. All right. Oh, you know what's the wrong one? That's all right. It's ES big pick. You can see that we had trouble over here prior. All right. And then you can see, look how we had that biggest delta push down right there. Right. That was huge. Biggest push down right there. You can see we're holding that so far. So it makes it easier to see. See how we've tested in, tested in, tested in, and have pushed out of there. You've got to slip back underneath that to make it lower. So you might want to mark that off from Friday. You got to get underneath that in order to roll lower. Holding above is an obvious push up, right? I'm going to rename that. Okay. And then let's try this. Wow, I'm ADD city today. You get underneath this wave, right? Watch out. that should push. Behind this fractal should push too. All right. So see how that, looking at that big pick over there on ES, right, goes, oh, because you can get lost in little waves and you got to go, oh, we really pressed down on this. And that's what they've been backside testing all night. So if you don't zoom out a little bit to take a look at what's behind you, you miss that, right? Okay, so we can get an idea of this from this. So if we come back and look at that, how did that set up for the long, right? Big push, right? See that right there? See how it doesn't close above this fractal combo right here, right on top. As a matter of fact, it fails back in. See how you get your first close above and shift up? That pushes it up, backside test. That was late Friday, so there's a lot of news going on. But clearly, you have to get underneath that wave to make it push down. And if you look a little further back, right, what generated this was this wave right here. You highlight that. Once we were above, that in a general way acted as support and set up that long late Friday afternoon, right? So we got above our bottom of our sellers, right? Here's our push off the bottom. That's acted as support, right? And now here we are, and we're going to have to figure out two things for today, right? Number one, can we get underneath that wave over there? Number two, here's the big, so we've pushed here. Now we have this giant push over here. It's actually bigger than this push. And what I find so interesting about that is, man, that big push went nowhere. Look at that. It's still trapped inside of inside of Sunday evening's gap, right? So that may be the exhaustion right there if nothing happens, right? If I get underneath there, look for a retest of this 55.40 low. And now I'm going to go through. So I've got that picture, all right? So I'm going to go chart, detach. Okay. And now I'm going to look at that and I'm going to go, okay, I need a down wave. I've had an up wave, down wave. Just like over here, I need a down wave, right? Or I need to catch it right on the edge and be willing to take the stop right here. This entry is the same as this entry here, right? The stop just goes right behind. It either holds or it doesn't hold. And I've got to balance that against what's my picture. Can we go lower or not? It's Monday. I don't know that we're going to go lower. So what I want to see now, we've had a big push. I want the down wave. I want the backside of the down wave so I can backside test it and roll lower instead of just shorting this because there's just too much noise in between here for me to just straight up figure it out. If I'm willing to take the stop here, just like an ES, I can short here, right? That 55.26 against that 55.38 if I'm willing to burn the 10 cents for the push back to the downside. But you're betting that this wave is going to give up the ghost, okay? And so I think the easier setup is to wait for the first down wave, grab the backside test, has a very high win rate. It's much more relaxing to take, at least for me it is. I know the entry, I know the stop, and I know what I'm looking for. So it's my 2 cents. And I know if I close behind this, there's a good chance that I just push. And see that fractal right there? See how we shifted up behind it and they pushed? Normal. And we have 10 minutes to the top of the hour. And notice that we're coming right to the back of this and it hasn't gotten one tick above, right? It needs to close above this, right, to fail. So just even trading above, it's got to close above with a point of control above, and then you're likely to push. So I have nothing right now is the answer. The trade you had was that first test up after the open and rejected, and it did its job. So now we're just looking for the next setup. Still inside the range on GC. We're above value on CL and above prior day's high. And ES is right underneath prior day's value area low, which is sitting at roughly 29.88. That's exactly what we just pushed to and kind of got tired. So CL being above prior day's value means there's a chance that it could actually rally further. Notice how they closed above that wave, but not with a point of control above. Not yet. No, they're about to. That's a close above that wave. That should push now. I'm not long, but a backside test in that area should provide support. I'd wait till this got overextended to the downside to take it. And I still don't have a three up, sequential three up that I'm looking for to act as support. And guys on YouTube, I'm going to cut this off at the top of the hour, and I will be back tomorrow. You're welcome to join us in the room if you'd like. Just email me at tradeandperform@gmail.com, tradenperform@gmail.com, and happy to extend you a 5-day pass to visit the room. Getting above that consolidation, trying to shift back down into it. Not a very big push either. There's no delta on it. Where am I at on the wave? Oh, we're into resistance. We're at that whole 85 to 91 area is valid resistance. So see how they didn't get the shift down over that wave? It just backside tested it. Should push now. No delta on those pushes. Starting to look like slow bleed short squeeze on ES. You can wait for a wave down and close underneath in the backside test. It's highly likely to be balanced and choppy today, so the backside tests are very likely to occur. Three down, forming on CL, potential backside test for a roll to the downside. You got to bust this wave. Okay. And it's got to close underneath it. So just the three wave down isn't enough. Fractal shift up, close underneath that fractal, probably roll back down. I will short with a close underneath here with a stop 2 bars behind or right on top of this, hopefully. That's where that ends up forming. That should go. You should not close underneath this fractal. Hey guys on YouTube, thanks for joining us today. I appreciate it. I'll be short if we get a close with a point of control on a one range bar underneath 29.8750. The stop will be 2 ticks above 90. So it'll be about a 4-point stop. And have a wonderful day. Trade well, trade smart. Don't overtrade. It's Monday. You have time.